I keep saying it. I'm going to continue to say it because people really need to be aware. But when I say wars come to America, I mean war is already here. Very much so. So what we're seeing right now is a trade war. What you're going to start to see is a travel war going on with the next 4 years. That means a lot of tourists are not coming here. That means your spring break, that economically is going to be shut down. It's going to be shut down significantly. The summer vacations, where people come here and they spend a lot of their money here, you won't be seeing that this year, or for the next 4 years for that matter, or until things get better and people feel safe enough to come to this country and leave. You also won't see people leaving this country as much because they don't know if they're going to be able to come back to this country with our borders trying to be more secure. Trade war, travel war, psychological warfare. Another one in which Trump is very good at because he's a narcissist is the psychological abuse that he continuously imposes on not only the American people, but people outside this country as well. So the war has already started. I think a lot of people mistake or underestimate what war looks like today in 2025 versus what it looked like in 1925. Okay? We're not there. We're not there anymore. Okay? People aren't getting their hands dirty with throwing missiles and bombs and things like that. People aren't getting dirty with sending off their troops just all willy-nilly. We've lost millions of people all through the 1900's. Senseless ass wars. So people aren't doing that anymore because everybody's already on population control. Everybody is already either trying to downsize or have more people. Our whole team of defense is declining right now in America. So this great army that America used to have is no longer there. I think that is a big misconception and misrepresentation, and honestly not a safe thing to just be throwing out there because you try to make people want to feel safe. War today in 2025 looks completely different than it does in 1925, and people really need to be aware of that because you are under attack already, especially psychologically. I think a lot of people underestimate the mindset of America, in which we have declining numbers in education. Okay? And our social media is very detrimental to our mental health as it is. So then now you have this man who is instilling all of these fears and anxieties onto his own people. You're going to see the country eat itself from the inside out, making it easier to be targeted from the outside in. You don't hear me though. I think people underestimate that. The smallest inconveniences can send the American people into chaos, into destruction, into uproar. Egg prices going up, gas prices going up. Things like that can send the American people up into uproar. Everyday products being too expensive when they're already too expensive based on the wages that we make. And then here we go, having to go through some more shit. Chaos, uproar. Psychologically fucking with you because they know that money in America makes our world go round. Shutting off the electricity. Stock market going down. Those are tactics of war that I think a lot of people are just overlooking. And I wish a lot of people would grasp that concept a little quicker so that we can get on with the get on already. Okay? Because if we don't start paying attention, if the administration does not start paying attention to what war tactics of 2025 look like, we're losing already. And we're going to continue to lose unless the administration gets their shit together and stops letting their ego and arrogance get the best of them. Because the war has already begun. Exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is when it's a cognitive behavioral type therapy. It could be used as psychological warfare, and it has been used as psychological warfare for quite some time, especially here in America. It is gradually exposing you to your fears so that when those fears actually become reality, you're not freaking out and you're not in a panic. And that is what you see in movies like Leave the World Behind, Handmaid's Tale. When Roe v. Wade hit the media and hit social media and then hit the news, a lot of people were like, we've seen this before. Where have we seen this before? Handmaid's Tale. You have movies like Red Dawn, the first one in 1984. And then you have the second one that came out. Then you also have White House Down, January 6th. Things like that are exposure therapy. Nothing is ever as it seems. You are being exposed to it through media, social media, movies, music, so that when it does happen, you're not freaking out. See, if I can control the mind, I can control the body. And if I can do that, then I can get you to submit to whatever I say, and whatever I say you will do. And that is what exposure therapy, or that is how it can be used as psychological warfare. And for so long, you have heard, especially when I was younger, people will say, especially the parents, don't stand too close to the TV, stop watching that TV off at this time. It is a certain amount of time of TV exposure that you can have for a reason. If you know the history of TV, antennas, and all of that, you will better understand how that can affect the mind cognitively, and then eventually control the body as well. It's the reason why music can stimulate you. Exposure therapy. So, yeah, it's very real. And sometimes you will watch these movies and you will be like, I've seen this before, or this seems way too close to reality for me, and you gotta turn it off, which is perfect example of your body being saying, hey, I'm being tricked, I don't like this, we're out. That's your fight or flight instincts, and your flight instincts are telling you to turn this shit off. Exposure therapy is very real. It has been used a lot of times throughout history, especially with women back in the 1950s with the LGBT community, especially when it was like first started in the 70s and things like that, trying to expose them to sex so that they don't, trying to make them not basically gay anymore. So we're going to expose them to the sexual stimulation in which they can get from the opposite sex. Exposure therapy is so real, and a lot of people, I feel like, don't know about it, but it's real. Movies are such a perfect example. All the movies that I listed, like I said, White House Down, January 6th, Handmaid's Tale, Roe v. Wade, so much of it is already happening, so much has already happened. You'll see Olympus Has Fallen, or you're going to see it. I can guarantee you that you're going to see it. But it's happening, and people need to be more aware of what they watch, what they listen to, because you're being exposed to frequencies in which are gearing you or psychologically manipulating you into doing what it wants you to do. The frequencies are inverting themselves into you, whether they are good frequencies or bad frequencies. All frequencies aren't good. So you really have to know the distinctive differences in between good frequencies and bad frequencies, and then also knowing what you're being exposed to and not being oblivious to the truth in which it starts to happen in your reality. It's not just a movie. It's not just music. It's not just a show. It's happening and you're watching it for a reason. And you have to take more consideration when you do those type of things.